Hey, hello, Sal. Long time no see. If you stop by tomorrow morning, I'll give you your rabbit. So I see 9 people watching. Um, there's probably myself right there, my laptop, and my phone. So there's still 6 more people in there somewhere. Don't be shy. You can come and say hi. 8 people watching. Don't hesitate to give me a thumbs up. You can share. You can like. Comment. Everything is good for the channel. I feel like I want to wait a little bit for people to come in. Oh, I feel like I broke Jim's feelings. Not related. So, I've been. Hello, Karen. Nice to have you here. I've been at my new job for a week now, and honestly, it's been amazing. It's been awesome. I love it. The only bad thing I could say is that now I get home, I got nothing to complain about. I got I got nothing to bitch about. Like I don't know, like I know it's still early. I know every new job has kind of a honeymoon attached to it. But I don't know, it feels different. Hello Tiffany? Yes, probably. I mean, I get to Friday and I'm like I don't even want to think about Monday. Um, Monday is way down the road. I don't even want to be anywhere near Monday. But now it's like, I'm not going to say that I can't wait to go back to work because that wouldn't be true. Obviously, I never want to go to work. But it's like, I'm thinking about Monday and I'm not afraid of Monday. I don't know if you get what I mean. Like, I'm okay with going to work on Monday, which is like very, very different. Um, the new job is well, I used to work in a pharmacy, with about 40 people, where you know people talk behind your back, people complain, people are negative, people bitch about everything. And now I work for payroll, and um, I didn't even know there was so many things about payday, payroll that could happen. I see all kind of stuff. I mean, there's 8,000 people in the whole province, and there's like I think it's 8 of us working for payroll all throughout the province. So there's only 3 of us in Campbellton, and one of them was not there this week. Um, I don't know. It's just everyone seems to want to help each other out instead of backstabbing each other. It's something I don't remember, having. It's not a feeling that I remember having. Now I can't say that everything in my old job was bad. That's not what I'm saying. I have some very good friends there that I hope we can, keep contact. Uh, and I'm really not an anti-social person. I mean, if my girlfriend was here, she would tell you that I go to the store. It takes me longer than anyone else because I simply know everyone and I talk with everyone. Um, but when I'm at work, I'm not really there to make friends. I'm not really there to socialize. I'm there to do my job and go back home. I'm not saying that, it didn't happen. Um, some of my colleagues were good people and good friends. Sorry, don't look. But where I'm working now, I don't know. There's just something different. Everybody wants to help each other out. And my old job, it was if I'm struggling with something that needs to be done and it's not done yet, like something has a deadline and it needs to be done for that deadline. My previous job, I didn't really have anyone that could help me. Um, there was good and bad about that, I guess, about the job I had, because that was one of the things that I didn't really like, the fact that nobody could help me. But at the same time, there was some good things about it, because being the only one that could do what I could do, you're becoming I don't know what's the word in English, but you can be replaced. And some people used to say in my back that if Remy leaves, anybody can do his job. Yeah, you can put someone in my chair. It doesn't mean you can do the job. And I used to I like using the analogy of, for people that watch hockey, you can have Sidney Crosby leave the team. The team's still going to play. They're still going to get some wins. They're still going to get a few losses. But whoever replaces him is not going to score 50 goals and 60 assists. You can talk about soccer or football for anyone other than North Americans. If you talk about football, you can probably replace Lionel Messi, but it's not going to do the same job. You know what I mean? But at my new job, it feels like there's 8 of us. Everybody is focused on doing the one thing. But at the same time, if someone's not there, everybody else will just chip in and get the work done. If I'm not expecting to meet the deadlines, I can just send a message. Hey, I'm probably not going to be done by this time. If anyone has some spare time, can you please give me a hand? People will join and help me, which is very different. Awesome. What time are you coming by, Self? If you're alone, I know sometimes you come by with I'll send. If you intend to go in Seymour, or just go for a drive, and I can go for a coffee run with you if you want. I'll bring the rabbit and I'll pay for the coffee. Yes, it's fun. It's fun. I don't know. It's positive things when I get back home. And like I said, it's not to bring down the old apartment where I was at. The change is a good thing. Usually is. When you're stuck in your loophole, where everything seems negative. You keep seeing the bad stuff and the bad stuff and the bad stuff. You change that. Like I told some of my colleagues, maybe one day I'll be back at the pharmacy. Who knows? I doubt. At the moment, I doubt. There's a few things that happened lately that I will not say live. But if any one of you wants to have a little chat about it and you want to know what's going on behind the curtains work, send me an email, and I will gladly have a talk with you. HoldTheLineHomestead, nice to have you here. Thank you very much for stopping by. Don't hesitate to give me a thumbs up, guys. I don't have any of my moderators on. What's going on? All right, what else has been going on? What else? So, let me see if I can find the link quickly. Yes, here it is. If you've been following me for a while now, or if you've been following any of my moderators, basically, you know that there's a few of us pretty close. You know, we pretty much talk on a daily we talk on a daily basis. We have a group chat with some of us, chatting. We're like family. We're not afraid to tell each other things that are going wrong in our lives. If we need to talk about something, we're not judged. We don't have the same opinion on everything, but we can still talk about it, and no fight, which is very, very big thing. Excuse me. And we've been struggling a little bit with the idea that I have to be careful what I say, but YouTube doesn't allow certain things, certain subjects, certain words. Like I filmed a video this summer about me taking the chickens in my chicken coop and putting them in the freezer. But on YouTube, it's not even legal to show the process. Something to do with people being offended by finding out how the food actually gets on the table, which is something I will never understand. If you ask me, it doesn't make sense. But the rule is there. They're the one sending me a check every once in a while, so I have to go by their rules. But some of us have been struggling a little bit with the idea of maybe I can say cancel culture. How everything has to be put aside, not talk about it. And so we decided that we were going to do something a little bit different. So it was the idea, the original idea came from Tracy at HoldTheLineHomestead. But there's also going to be myself, Annie from Back to Basics Homestead, Marilyn at Little Homestead by the Beach, Lynn from Bucket List Homestead, Darren from Thorhaven Farm, Angie from Me and You Acres. We'll have a few different people every once in a while, but we were going to start doing some podcasts. And I'm going to share the link to the new channel. So if you're interested, you can go and subscribe to that channel. We will start having content soon. And after the podcast is done, what we're hoping to do is have like an hour or two in a podcast, but then have like some sort of an after party live stream or anything like that on Patreon. And on there you can say and do a little bit more things. It's a little bit more open-minded, I should say. So there's going to be a lot of talks there, and the goal of that channel is that we have so much fun together whenever we're, just chatting behind the scenes, or after when we're done after the live streams, when we just start chatting and talking, and we laugh, we make jokes, we have fun. We all learn from each other. We teach each other, and we tell each other, little tips and tricks, and talk about all that kind of stuff. So we're hoping that we can bring that fun and share it with all of you guys. So, like I said, I put the link down there. You're free to subscribe. We're hoping that at some point we'll be able to offer some different content on there, but it will be mostly for podcasts. And eventually on Patreon, I will have like the after party where we're going to be able to talk a little bit more freely about different subjects. We want to still stay away from all the political stuff, and like touchy subjects, but we won't be afraid to talk about, putting meat in the freezer or those subjects that YouTube will not accept, but it's just common sense for life. We need to eat. They sell chicken at the store. It's only normal that someone would know how to raise chicken and how to do all the take from the coop to the freezer part. It only makes sense that someone would teach how to do that. And I know Justin Rhodes basically left YouTube for that specific reason. And I think that they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot because Justin Rhodes has over 1 million subscribers. People wanted to join the membership area. They wanted to learn that stuff, but they could not because of policies and stuff. So he created his own website, his own thing, and he's got so many people registered that YouTube is losing thousands and thousands of dollars a month because of things like that. Anyway, it's their platform. They can do whatever they want. I don't want to get a strike here. I'm just saying that they do what they want. But some people want to have some more information about specific subjects, and we'll be able to get it on Patreon after. It is very cold. Today was one of the coldest day. Well, it was the coldest day of winter so far. And yes, you go to the store after you remove like the first few chickens, some chickens just appear like that, just in the back of the road. Just it grows there on the shelf or in a fridge. Already connected from Lynn's Live. That's awesome. That's awesome. By the way, let me just change my banner. I have this banner down there. I just want to say, because I am promising, shout out Amanda from Our Life Off Grid also is a member of mine. I didn't have time to change the whole thing, but she is a member. Go check her out. Our Life Off Grid, and if I remember correctly, she has her logo is like a picture of a chicken, if I'm correct. So I'm guessing, Tiffany, if you're asking that question, it's because it's cold down there as well. At least we don't have snow. It can be cold as much as it wants. We don't have snow, and if we don't have snow, I'm happy. It is what it is. It is what it is. No. So there are a few things I wanted to talk about. Just little guidelines, I've said that my channel is going to switch a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit more about bushcraft, survival in the forest, foraging, wild edibles, and things like that. Now, I start taking a few foraging class, not foraging, not like copying from someone, but harvesting wild plants. My French accent, everybody keeps asking me, are you talking about foraging or foraging? But anyway, it's about harvesting wild plants. I'm also taking a free online class about survival, but I've also taken a lot of different classes when I was younger. When we take our hunting class here, like our pew pew class that we have to take in order to be able to legally have one in possession. You need it also for any hunting license and all that kind of stuff. They give you like basics of survival. You know, what to do if you hurt yourself, what to do if you get lost, things you have to think of and stuff like that. But I feel like you need to do multiple different kind of classes in order to get the information you need, because it's not only to get the information, but you kind of have to put yourself into the mindset of what happens if I get lost in the woods. Now, some people are thinking, well, I only go in places where I know the trails. I only know in trails that I know if I get lost, I can find another trail back. But you never know what can happen. You never know if, I don't know, you go for a drive in the woods, maybe your car will catch on fire. Who knows? Maybe you won't notice and the motor will heat up and cause a fire. Then you're stuck in the woods. Who knows? Things can happen. You're in for snow tomorrow. Hopefully you keep it down there. I had a bushcraft channel prior to becoming Buttercup and Fern. Yeah, your husband still has a channel, right? About that kind of stuff. But there are a few things that you can start thinking of before you make it to the point where you realize you're in a bad place, you're in a bad situation. I go deer hunting. I go in spots where I know the area because I've been there before. But everywhere I go, I've always been there one time where it was the first time. Now, it's one thing to look at a map, at our GPS, and see, okay, there's a river there, there's a road there, and we're coming from this way. And you only need to start walking in circle, to start freaking out and maybe think that you're lost and you're done and I'm gonna have to spend the night here. Who knows? I've said this story before, but I think it was back in 2008 or 2009. My brother was deer hunting, and it wasn't even about him. There was a guy there, an old man, was lost in the woods, and he was suffering from diabetes, and he had one of those. I never know what it's called in English, but those bag that will catch your urine if you can't pee by yourself or whatever it's called. So the guy was getting weak, and he didn't know his way back. So my brother, being my brother, he was 18, 19 years old at the time. He looked at my dad and he said, "Dad, like, we have to help. We have to go and help them. There's someone out there tonight. We have a GPS. We have, pews. We have our compass. We know the territory. We have to go and find them." And he left. They all left in their separate ways because they didn't know where the guy was. Sorry, I froze for a second. I'm reading the comments as I'm trying to think about what I'm going to say. But not only if that guy had practiced a little bit of the survival stuff, it would have been probably easier for him. But who knows? Maybe by the time my brother would have got to him, maybe it would have been too weak to even be able to walk back. And I'm not talking about my brother. I'm talking about the other guy. So maybe my brother would have had to, stay there, make a fire, make shelter. Who knows? An injured animal won't stay on a trail trying to retrieve it. It could get you lost. Exactly. And that was my next point. I go grouse hunting. Sometimes I go for a walk. Sometimes I'll go with the Jeep. I used to have an ATV and go with the ATV. You don't want to keep the engine running because, gas is so cheap nowadays. If you start looking for the animal, especially a grouse will keep getting away. You might end up 2, 3, 4 kilometers away from the road. Now, maybe you know the territory. Maybe you know that you're no more than 10 kilometers away from the closest road in the worst situation. But if that's the direction you're heading, and it's fall, it's getting cold, it's 6:30 p.m., it gets dark at 7, maybe it's time for you to think that you might have to spend the night in the woods. Mostly it's canoe trips. Mine was hanging tarps, camp cooking. Cool. Hanging tarps. That's a very, very popular subject. Do you still have the channel? You probably don't post on it as much, but that's really something I'd be interested in. I strongly feel that every hunter should carry an overnight emergency kit. Totally. And the only reason that we don't do it where I'm going for hunting is because right now I know every single stream, every single cutting, there's a river, an ATV trail, a paved road on the 2 other sides. And if something happens, we have cell phone reception everywhere. And I could always call my dad and say, hey, shoot a bullet in the air. If I can hear you, beep the horn or anything like that, because I don't know where I am. I need to find my way back. The video, okay, cool. I'll try to go and take a look at those old videos of yours. But my point is, if I go grouse hunting, I might end up being lost, and I need to bring survival gear, which I never do. And someday something bad's going to happen. You just take one wrong trail that you figure, I'm going to take that road, that trail there. I'm going to turn right instead of left. Maybe I'll find a few good spots for my next hunt. Or you figure, I'm going to turn around and be all right. But then it's like, okay, one left, one right, one left. And suddenly you're lost. You don't know how to get back. And that's happened to my cousin a while back. It was still in high school. He went for an ATV drive and he got lost. He had to spend the night in the woods. He didn't really enjoy it. And, we talk about it every once in a while, but I don't know. I guess I would need to talk to him again to know exactly what his experience was, because I don't remember what he told me. Fat wood, flint, and steel, dehydrating foods. Cool. Hello, Cindy Squirrel. Hello, Cindy. Nice to have you here. Anything can happen. But before you even make it out, you have to start thinking about what are my addictions? And that's something that everybody should ask themselves. Tracy and Darren just recently did a video about their go back home bag, in case something happens, their car breaks down, or they have to walk back home. Maybe nuclear weapon goes off, or maybe it's a zombie apocalypse. Whatever you believe can happen, Let's say it happens for any reason at all, you have to walk back home, but you know you're going to have to spend a night out. One night is fine. 2 nights, maybe it's okay. But third, fourth, fifth nights, you're going to have another issue on your hands other than not being able to drink, stay warm, and eat. Anyone here drinks coffee? I'm going to give you a few seconds. Do you drink coffee on a daily basis? I'm not talking about one coffee here and there, but anyone here drink coffee on a daily basis? I'm pretty sure a lot of people do. How many people eat sugar on a daily basis? I know I do. Two things I just said, coffee and sugar, something I do. First of all, I put sugar in all my coffee. Second of all, I'm a sugar bug. You know, chocolate, snacks, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you put sugar in your coffee. Now, some people have drug addiction. Some people have alcohol addiction. People think that being an alcoholic is just like a bad thing in terms of, you know, he's an alcoholic, he's a this and he's that and he's a bad person and so on. You don't always realize that you take a few drinks one day and a few drinks the other day, and you do that every day for a little while, and then you're an alcoholic. You're addicted to alcohol. Are you addicted to social medias? What happens if you don't have internet for a day? The reason I'm asking all those questions is for the people that said yes, that you drink coffee every day. Have you ever tried not drinking coffee for 2-3 days in a row? If you don't drink your coffee and you're used to drinking coffee every day, you'll have headaches. You might have the shakes. And I see like drug addictions and alcohol and all that kind of stuff. But medication could also fall into that category. If you're someone that has blood pressure issues, anxiety issues, you know, diabetes. What happens if you stay stuck in the woods for a few days? That's something you have to keep in mind. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow there might be. I know it happened in the peninsula a while back, a few years ago. I say a while back, it was like 5-6 years ago maybe. They had this freezing rain storm, and they were like 2 weeks without electricity. Some people could not even make coffee. And when you have a headache, withdrawals, headaches are nasty. I agree. You don't see clearly. You can make bad decisions. If you have the shakes, or if you're only thinking about the social media, oh well, I have to post something, or I want to see what, what Buttercup and Fern Homestead posted on YouTube today. Like I have to, you're not thinking about the situation you're in. And that can be very, very dangerous. Probably as dangerous as not having water on hand right away, not having food on hand right away. Like, it can make you go crazy and do crazy things. Hopefully you're doing better now. I've had some people in my surroundings that were alcoholics, and they had to stop drinking completely. So much money and zero responsibilities. And once again, like, I don't want to put everyone in the same basket, but there's a lot of First Nation people that has the same issue. There's a lot of people in every category, any minorities that have the same issue, where they have a good income coming in without having to work and having all the time in the world to do whatever you want. But after a while, it gets boring. You drink, you do some other bad stuff. See, yeah, I'm like that too. I would need my coffee in the morning because I would get a really huge headache. And if something happens, let's say tomorrow morning, all the planes are down, all the trains are down for some reason, you won't have coffee in the stores for a while. Now, you might be able to survive with the food you have in your pantry, because let's face it, most of the people here in the chat are preppers or gardeners or anything like that, at least to a certain extent. But coffee, sugar, any prescribed drugs or not prescribed drugs, or alcohol, social media, any addiction can make a huge difference whether you survive or not. So knowing that, and I'm not suggesting you stop drinking your coffee every day. What I was going to say is, if you're one person that has to travel or go in the woods, or you have to go to work, far from home or anything like that, maybe you should skip a day and see how you react. If you have a headache, how bad is it? If you can be 2-3 days without coffee and not get sick or not have a headache, maybe you're good. But if you can't do that, you need to start thinking about maybe changing a few things, especially if you're a hunter and you go in the woods. You don't take coffee. Primal survival mode takes over getting put into a situation. Yeah, I agree that probably if you got into a situation where you had to survive, maybe your mind will kick in and say, hey, you have to think about shelter, you have to think about water, you have to think about food. And maybe the coffee won't be an issue. But when you watch the TV show Alone, where people are put on an island or somewhere and they have to survive for as long as they can, and the last one standing wins, some of them start having thoughts and their mental goes down fast because they're tired, they don't eat properly, they don't sleep properly. That's something that you kind of have to practice. Hello, Tracy. Nice to have you here. I didn't have a coffee today. I didn't have coffee one day. My court date is pending. See? It's probably just a joke, but still, like, for some people, it's a reality. I'm better off struggling and enjoy every day. That's a good thing if you can enjoy every day. I have a stash that will last me months of everything I take in my coffee. But see, when we talk about survival, We don't talk about that stuff. And I'm not saying that you have to bring coffee and you have to bring this and that and sugar, and it's just something to keep in mind. How will it affect you? Maybe it won't affect you at all. If I miss a day of coffee, the next day with coffee tastes so much better. Even if I normally use 1 sugar and cream, I'll drink black coffee like it was ambrosia. But what happens if you're 10 days without coffee? I'm just trying to make people realize that maybe if you're addicted to something, and you get lost in the woods, you have to know how your body will react. The mental is one thing. The physical part of your body is another thing. Now, before I would go in the woods, we talk about survival kit, first aid kit. First aid kit is something that we should always have around. Always. Even if it's home. Some people don't have a first aid kit. Everybody should have one. Now, I know, Tiffany, if you're still in the chat, and everyone else that had young kids, it's hard to keep like just a box of plasters. It's hard to keep. Kids will fall in the stairs or hit their toes on a door, and they'll be like, "Mom, Dad, I need a plaster because I hurt my ankle." Well, you don't need a plaster. You're not bleeding. Well, it's going to help because it hurts really bad. Well, okay, we'll put you a plaster. And then even if you're not looking, they'll go and get plasters. And here, we're struggling with that. And my youngest one is 10 years old. Now, it's become... we've come to the point where the oldest ones are a little bit more brave and adventurous. Sometimes they'll hurt themselves for real. And they're actually going to need a plaster, Band-Aid. But the young ones are still, well, I have a scratch, or I don't want it to get infected, so I need a plaster. Probably most likely after. I'm thinking probably even before that, depending on what kind of person you are. But it's just that the mental state that you put yourself in that moment, with the stress kicking in, not knowing if you're gonna spend the night there or not, or am I lost? Am I gonna have to spend the night in the wood? It's the adrenaline is up. You're actually fear for your life, and if you have to start wondering about all those different addictions, it can be even worse. Dandelion roots and drink. Yep. Dandelion and chicory. Chicory is another replacement for coffee. I did some this summer. I did it just perfect. Just when the first few pieces start turning black, then it's time to remove it. It's strong and dry. Put it in the coffee grinder, and it smells so good. I actually still have some left. I wanted to give it to my cousin because it's supposed to be very, very good with the inulin, and it would help my cousin with this intestines. He has some little issues down there, and I gave him 2 little pouch that I did, and he didn't drink it yet, so he's not going to get any more until he drinks those 2 and lets me know if he likes it or not. Same as when you're in the heat for too long and get a cold drink. Yeah, roasted. The roots are very, very good. Taking the iPad away from my youngest. Where's 3 hours? We found him outside playing again, digging and building forts. You find your way. The mind needs to be active. True. true. That is also a valid point. Like I can't argue with that. Uh, and you're right. Kids can be addicted to the electronics, but once you take them out of that situation, or you take them out of their bedroom and you get them to do something else, um, they'll usually I don't even know what's the right way to say it. They'll just get on, like you said. They'll find their way, and they're gonna start doing something else. That's awesome. 20 months already. Let me see. So I just want to see how many members I have right now. So I have 18 members at the moment, but 10 of them are memberships that I simply gave away for free, because now YouTube allows you to give away some memberships. But it's a total of 18, I think, which is pretty cool. For those of you interested, I post some pictures every once in a while on there. I try as much as I can to put some good content out there. I'll put some videos for members only. I'll have some pictures, videos, surveys and things like that for members only. If you're interested in any of that stuff, it's only 99 cents. I also have a $2.99 version, and I think the other one is $11.99. It gives you access to a little bit more of my content. Yeah, the imagination comes back. My kids start doing sports. And I'm already noticing with my youngest one, he's not on his electronics as much when he gets home. Now tonight he was gone with his friends. The fun thing is he's got two of his friends that live 2 and 3 houses away from here in his class. Like they're same age. They hang out together. They're all the same. They like the same kind of stuff, and they're all like the same size, the same height, which is kind of cute, And another one of their friends invited them all over to his place, so they're gonna have like a little pajama night, the boys' night, I guess. I'm hoping they won't be on the electronics all the time. If they could build little forts with blankets and things like that, it'd be nice. But they tend to be creative when they don't have any other options. So I talked about the first aid kit. I got one for Christmas. You can find a nice, decent first aid kit for around $20. You can find them at Walmart, Amazon, pharmacy. If you go to the pharmacy, you can find pretty much everything you need there. Another thing to keep in mind is rope or anything that can tie something to one of your body part can also be added to a first aid kit. Why? Because let's say you break your leg or you break an arm, and you have to keep it steady, because if you don't, it hurts as hell. You might have to put a few branches. You're in the woods, so you got pieces of wood everywhere around you. So you might have to take something straight, put it around your arm, tie it up, just to make sure you won't move your arm. It might not be fun, but it might save you other issues in the long term. I wanted to show you the survival kit I just bought, and I got it like literally an hour before my live stream. Yeah, well, you know what I mean. But before I get to the survival kit, I want to talk about a few other things that I've always put in my backpack when I go hunting or whatever. Um, Obviously, I'll have my GPS and compass, but I also have another compass in my survival kit. So we'll get to back later. Back to that later. Um, it's a good thing to always bring water. Worst comes to worst, if you can have one of those. Do I have my bag here? Yeah. If you can have one of those metal uh, cups, or if I can find where the zipper starts. I showed this in one of my video, and so in my backpack right now, I have my first aid kit. I have something to start a fire, flint, and one of those little fire starter. But something like this can be very, very useful. Now, it's not big. I agree. You can put, let's say you're stuck in the winter, you don't have access to any water. You can melt some snow, but a pot like this full of snow will maybe get you 100, maybe not even 100 milliliters of water. It's not much, but it can still make a difference whether you live or die, you know, in a survival situation. Because if you're dehydrated, anything you can drink is a plus. It's good. In the summer, water is a little bit more accessible. You'll find a stream somewhere, you'll find a brook, a lake, anything that you can drink water from. But now, don't go and drink the water straight out of the pond or right out of the lake or of a stream or a river, or I did that once. Well, actually, I did that twice, and both times it was supposed to be good water. Um, I've drank water from one of water spring every year since I was a kid on my dad's land. That one time, we didn't think. We went and harvested water from the spring and decided to put it in the fridge. And my cousin was with me, and she took a few jugs home as well. What we didn't know is it was too early in the spring, and all the swamps from way up, way back ended up flowing in that stream, in that water spring. And she caught a parasite that caused her to be weak, and she needed medication for about a week or 2 weeks. She started being sick. So if you just drink water right out of the stream like that, you might get worse. The second time, it was in the summer. A friend of mine, we went fishing, and there was this little stream that we passed, and he's like, if you're thirsty, you can drink water right out of that brook. I've done that my whole life, and it's safe. I'm like, okay, you do it, I'll do it. You've done it before, obviously, so I'll do it too. Started drinking, and it was okay. It was good. But like 3 to 4 days later, I realized that I had rashes all over my body. And I didn't really know what it was until it hit me. Like, it's probably the water from the stream that I drank that I wasn't really supposed to drink straight from. So you might need one of those spots to boil the water. Even if it's water and not snow, you need to boil it before you drink it. And if you have space in your backpack, a bottle of water is never a bad thing, especially in the summer. If you go out in the summer, it's a good thing. Now, I put down on my little binder here proteins. It can be a protein bar. It can be a jar of peanut butter. It can be dehydrated stuff. You can go at the store and buy some jerky. Maybe you do your own jerky. Any of that stuff is good. Just make sure that you have something that you're putting aside. Like if, I go deer hunting, I'll bring some chocolate and chips and a sandwich and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get some energy, but I eat it all, before lunch. So if something happens, I'm kind of stuck in the woods with none in the heat. So you have to always keep something aside in case you get really weak. It's the job of the parents to teach growing food, fishing, hunting, making fire, and shelter. Yes, and that is something that I want to start doing with my kids a little bit more. I want to build a little wood cabin on my dad's land. Not necessarily to be able to sleep in, but just like to make some sort of a protection barrier around us. Even if I have to go and put a tent in the middle, something that we can go sleep and have a little door or whatever that we can spend the night in with the kids. It'd be nice. A little cabin would be awesome. Another thing I want to talk about is a knife. Now, I have one like this that can hit a little button and it folds. And you might be thinking, this is one of the best knives to have because it doesn't take much space. You can open it. You can, cut a branch, cut a rope. You can probably gut an animal if you need to. You can clean a fish if you catch a fish. But those knives, eventually, they'll break. The little spring in there will let go. That button here will let go. You might have that, try to use it, and then suddenly, boom! It closes and you cut your finger. This is not the best knife to have. Now, I have a few ones, of course, because I love having those. I have another one here. It's actually like an army knife. It says United States Army from the company Olympia. It's the same thing. If it breaks, that's what happens. With time, you won't be able to fold them, or you won't be able to open them, or the spring will let go, or anything like that will happen, and you might be in trouble. The best kind of knife to have would be one like this here. You don't need to have the little pouch that goes with it, and it doesn't need to be this small. But this one has a straight blade. It doesn't fold. You can't really cut yourself with it now unless you go and do it on purpose. It has a little hook, so it's even better. But if something happens that the wooden part falls off or breaks or whatever, it might not be ideal, but at least I'll still have a little metal handle on it that I can put rope or tape and still continue using the knife. You never know. It's very, very useful. You get stuck in the woods, you might need to make a fire, make a shelter. You'll need a knife. Cut branches, spruce trees, or anything like that. Very, very, very useful. I also have one like this for the kitchen, just to show it's another example of something that you could have. That's not the perfect type, of course. But the thing is, if it breaks, the wooden part falls off, you still have the metal part here that, can still help you a little bit. Um, one like this is not a bad one to have either, but still, again, I would go with the straight blade. But this one here has a little saw. Um, it has the knife and it has the hook. I find that the hook is kind of pointless if you have the regular knife with the hook. But this little piece here is actually a good thing to have. It doesn't take much space, and if you need to cut a branch or anything like that, it's very easy to do. But the best one to have would be a straight blade. Fish was educational, taught by my dad. Then my brother and I travel and learn more techniques. Then I solo fish, cook my catch. I wish I brought salt and lemon, but it's basic. Yes, that is something that I really want to do this summer. There's no reason why I shouldn't do it. Just go out fishing. If I catch a fish, cook it right there next to the fire. I will be trying to do that now that I have a GoPro camera. I have the little thingy to put on top of my head. Do I have it here? I'm not sure if I have it here or if it's in my bedroom, but I'll be able to film. That was always my question. I have a cell phone. I have to hold my cell phone in my hand when I'm fishing. But if I catch something, I need my two hands to reel it in. But now I'll just have the little camera on my head and click the record button and film myself while I'm dragging the fish in. So I'll be able to make better videos. And it's really, really something I want to do. Bring my little cast iron or little tiny pot with a flint or a lighter and make a fire and cook whatever I catch in the woods. Like maybe find some herbs, find some mint. There's always mint around rivers and stuff. Maybe if I'm lucky, a few mushrooms, and just cook a nice lunch right there next to the lake or next to the river or anything like that. I would need to check to make sure what that knife really is. I know the name. I've seen it before. It just doesn't ring a bell. I'm not good with names of items like that. Full-tank knife is a great investment. Well, if you want to spend time in the wilds, those are investment that anyone should be making. That's true. I'm thinking about going. There's like a big dam here, about 5 minutes away. I'm thinking about going there at some point. The only thing is, the best time for fishing is in spring, and it is full of black bears around here. So that's one of the things that scares me the most, not having protection around bears. Because here in Canada, you can't have protection if you go out in the woods. If it's not hunting season. Although now I think that the hunting season starts earlier. So I could actually buy my tag, my license, and bring something for the hunt. And, have it nearby. If I ever see a bear arrive, I would have something to protect myself. And like I have this perfect spot, there's a small ATV trail. It's a good 30 minutes walk to get there. But what's 30 minutes to walk if you have food, a tent, And once you get there, you can actually make a fire. They made little fire pit. You have grass where you can put your tent, and you beautiful fishing spot as well. Yeah, I think I remember what it is. It almost looks like a machete, but different shape. Pretty cool. Pretty cool knife. Yes. So there are two more things that I want to talk about, but we will take just a tiny little break, and it's going to give me a chance to put for the first time my little what's it called? Be right back video, or here it is. So I was here like 30 seconds ago, but I wanted to see the whole video. It's kind of cool, isn't it? Hopefully you guys are still there. First time you see the video, maybe you didn't get tired of it, and it's good to take a break every once in a while. So to come back to my survival thing, one of the class I'm taking has a pretty good take on what happens if you get lost. But it's not only about if you get lost. Let's say I'm used to go up the mountain. We have a nice mountain here called Sugarloaf Mountain. Takes about 45 minutes to go up if you take your time. Maybe 25 minutes to go down if you take your time. Back in the days, I used to do it in 15 minutes and less, running all the way up, but I'm not in that shape anymore. To say, like Tracy used to say, I'm round, and round is the shape, so I'm in shape, but not that kind of shape. maybe you'll go up the mountain and enjoy the beautiful view you have up there. And by the time you start going down, you realize that maybe I won't have time to make it back to my car. Maybe maybe it's too dangerous to go without a light, trying to find my way back to the car. And then you get in a panic situation, and your brain gets foggy because you don't really know what you're thinking. The first thing that the guy said that we should do is stop. And stop, the 4 letters have a meaning. The S for stop, like literally stop. That's what the trick is. Stop. Don't start running. Don't start going in all kind of direction. Stop right where you're at. Stop moving. Stop worrying. Stop. So the S is for stop. The T is for think. Stop and think. Am I going to make it? No. Well, okay, what do I need to do? What do I remember learning? What do I remember practicing? Because practice is a good thing too. Am I going to make it? No. Well, okay, I need to find shelter. There's only 10 minutes left before dark. It's no point of trying to run down the hill in the middle of the woods if I have no idea where I'm going. So I have to think about what I'm going to do and think about what's happening. Okay, like, is that what's happening now? Like I'm stuck or I'm lost. I need to make shelter. I need to make place to sleep. The O is for observe. Don't just go running in one direction. Observe. Look what's going on around you. Observe. Am I in a place where if it rains, maybe I'll get flooded by water? Observe can also mean, look what's around you. Look at your surroundings. Is there a river nearby? And do you still see the sun somewhat? Because I see Wickershire Project off grid. That's a very good point. You spend the night in the woods. Maybe in the morning you'll realize, okay, the sun is there, so I have to head north or I have to head south to make it to my car. You'll know exactly where to go. But if you don't observe what's around you, maybe you won't even be able to make a shelter. Spruce is probably the best tree to have around you if you're lost and you need to make a shelter because of the way that the branches go. It's a thick tree that has a branch going down. And the P stands for plan. So stop, think, observe, plan. Stop. Plan. If I have to stay here, okay, so I'm going to make a shelter. I'm going to use the spruce that's right there. There's a dead tree there that I might be able to use, to put around to make sure that to make sure that I have something on top of my head, or I'll use the spruce branches there to make a little bed so that I am a little bit more comfortable. Things like that. Stop, think, observe, plan. The first thing you should do is stop. Second thing you should do is always shelter. People think about food. Food is further down the road. Now, I'm not talking about the people that go on a TV show called Alone. I had Lost in mind. I saw Michael Sharp. Thank you for being here, Michael. I saw the word lost and I said lost, but I'm talking about the show Alone. Those people have to stay there for as long as they can. They know they have to find food. They know they have to eat. That's different. If you get lost in the woods, you know that someone's going to be looking for you, because that's one of the things you have to do before you leave, is tell someone where you're going. Whenever I go for a drive in the woods, especially if I go at my parents' camp, I'll send them a message before I leave. They get a reception at the camp, so I'll be like, "Hey, it's Remy. Going over to see you. I'm leaving right now. It's 9:15. I'm leaving right now. Should be there in about 30 minutes. Maybe if it takes me 45 minutes, they'll think that maybe I stopped to the gas station or to the grocery store or got a snack or anything like that. Maybe I saw a moose and I stopped by to look at him. But if it takes me 2 hours and they call home and I'm not home, I didn't turn around, in theory, they'll come and start looking for me. If you get lost in the woods, maybe they won't be able to find you. But if they know where you're going, then it might be easier for them to find you. You might still have to spend a few nights in the woods, but chances are your mindset will be, I have to spend the night here. I have to survive for one night. Food has nothing to do with surviving for one night. Water, unless unless you're in the middle of a heat wave, water is not the next thing. The first thing you have to think about is shelter. Because a shelter will protect you from predators that could be roaming around you. Plus, it will give you a sense of security. Because if you're anxious, if you have a lot of fear, you will spend a lot more energy, even if you're not doing anything. So a shelter will also stop the wind if you build a proper shelter. They will also stop the rain from getting you wet if it's raining, if it's snowing. So shelter should be the first thing you have to think about. Because you don't need to eat, you don't need to drink on the first night. You need a place to sleep. You need protection. You need a shelter. Then, if you realize that you're going to have to stay there for a little bit longer, okay, start thinking about finding water around. There has to be a stream, a brook, a river, a lake, anything around you. Now, I wouldn't recommend drinking water from a beaver dam. That's not what I'm saying. Now, I have one of those water filtration straw. Darren had something similar, and I feel like his was even better than mine. Apparently, you can pretty much drink muddy water, and you'll only drink the water out of it. But don't forget to boil the water. Water should come in second. In my opinion, that's the second thing you have to think about. Third thing you should think about is security. Before you even start thinking about food. You can survive a good 6-7 days without food, no problem. But you need water, you need shelter. The goal is for someone to find you before it gets too late, right? So you only need to survive until the next day. Every day you have to survive until the next day. The third thing I would tell you would be security. You build your shelter, you found a source of water. It's time to think about, what can I do for my security? What if a bear comes nearby? What if a coyote comes nearby? Or I don't know. Maybe you're in an area where you have wolves. What happens if a wolf pack comes nearby? You probably can't defend yourself, and that's not the kind of security I'm talking about. You need to make your shelter strong enough solid that maybe the bear or the wolf won't even want to be near you. Make just some tiny pieces of woods or branches. You cut them with a very spiky tip, like a very sharp tip. The animals come nearby, they walk on that, they'll run away. They'll change their mind. So, see, like that can be a good thing if there's snow and you don't have any storm around. You can follow your tracks back the next morning in the mud as well. And even if it's a little bit dry outside, you can probably still see a few branches, tipping down or leaves turned upside down and things like that where you pass, so you can find your way back. But maybe you can't. Getting lost can be the best way to find yourself. It's kind of a little bit cheesy, but it's also very, very true. Earlier we were talking about addictions and things like that. Kids today, and maybe even you, if you drink coffee every morning, it can be an issue if you ever get lost in the woods because you won't have coffee with you, and you might get a huge headache, and that might compromise your thinking abilities. But if you can survive the first few days without caffeine, without the coffee, and you might just found, like, I don't know, a new way, maybe like your way. You might be better off in your mind. Yep. Yeah, you can last, I think it's like 7 days without food. That's if you get water. If you don't have any water, and if you spend a lot of energy running or walking up and down a hill or anything like that, that can change. Most bugs without bright colors tend to be edible. Trust me, they bob like corn and taste like walnuts. If you can find some edible plants that probably the bugs won't taste as bad, or they won't be as disgusting, And I get it, Cindy. It doesn't feel appealing at all. I'd probably try everything before I eat bugs, but they sell it at the store now. Even sleeping with your back up against a tree is much better than being out in the open. True. You just have to. It's not about, like, don't go in the woods getting lost and go crazy and be like, oh, Remy told us we need to know about this, and no, just calm down. It's just a matter of, if you start talking about it now, thinking a little bit about what would you do if, chances are you will condition your mind to it and be a little bit more ready if that happens. I always thought that I could get lost and I could survive. And the first season of Alone, I watched it and I'm like, I could have done 70, 80 days easily and, beat half of those guys. Because I know all about, well, not all about, but a bunch of edible mushrooms. I know about a bunch of edible plants. I know a lot about shelters. I know a lot about fishing. I know about trapping, hunting, and so on. But I never realized that I might need medication. If I get too skinny and I start feeling bad, I might be anxious. I have to condition my mind to those things. I kind of see things differently now, knowing that if I get lost somewhere, after 5 days, if no one's looking for me, it means that they want me dead anyway. So I'm pretty sure after the first night I spent in the woods, my girlfriend would call someone and say, "Hey, Remy didn't get home last night. Like, we need to find him." Well, he said he was going, grouse hunting back there or in the woods or whatever. Some people are going to start looking for me, helicopters and so on, and they'll eventually find my vehicle and know my whereabouts. But who knows? It can be a few more days. Always drop sticks with arrow-like shaped tracker can find you, but make their job easier. True. Or an easy, well, I don't know if it's easier, but it would be more at the eye level. Maybe just like scratch a tree and make the arrow there. Or just like write Rem was here, something like that. It might sound stupid, but at least you're letting them know that you're still alive and they have to keep on searching. War spear. Yep, true. And that can be done with any type of branches, really. Well, anything that's strong enough. Spruce, cedar, those would be good options, but you can go with, maple or any kind of tree, really. The harder it is, the better it is, but the harder it'll be to shape it the right way. People on a plane crashing the mountains. They had fresh meat to eat. Human survival mode when extreme hunger strikes takes over. If you're the one cooking, you look at others like food storage. Yeah, is cannibalism an option? Don't get lost with them, definitely. Yep, that's another one too. Just break a few branches here and there. If you have a machete, it's even easier. You can just go and, hit a few small trees and branches around on your way to where you're going. So this little survival kit that I got, now you can find some for about $25. They don't have to be very expensive. Only problem is, if they're cheap ones, they'll have things like compass, and I kind of realized that by turning the little wheel here, it made the arrow turn too, which is not really good. I know I have it upside down, but it's doing the same thing when it's steady on a table somewhere. Now, eventually it goes back. So what I have to do is I just tap it a little bit like this. I just move it. It will tend to show the north a little bit. It takes a few seconds, but it would do the job. It's not the ideal compass, but it came with a kit. But I would suggest you replace the compass because that could be something that's very easily interchangeable and that easy to replace. There's this bracelet. It has a little tiny can opener here, kind of a not an Allen key, but little screwdriver or something like that. And it's a bracelet, literally a bracelet. Now, it has a little tiny compass on the top as well, and it's the same thing. You just give it a few seconds. It has a little bubble in it, so that's why it's not working 100%. But the thing is, it's threaded rope. So in theory, I could use this and have a longer piece of rope, and that can be useful to either hold branches or trees together if you wanted to make a teepee or anything like that, to make a nice shelter, or if you want to, I don't know, if you were able to snare a rabbit and you need to hang it upside down to clean it or anything like that, rope is always a good thing to have. We have two brothers that come here to stay 4 weeks out of the year. They own the 148 acres behind us. They come with a cooler of beer. They survive, really. They don't bring water. They just bring the beer and bring their survival gear and go on. That's pretty cool. The kit that I have, like I said, you can find one for about $25. This one here was on sale on Amazon for $45. I will probably make another video on it at some point because I'm going to be talking a little bit more about survival. But you can take this, open it, put a bottle there, a little bottle of water, snap it back, put this on your belt, and you'll have water when you walk around, and it's going to help you. These little tiny ropes is another fire starter. This is a flint. It's not working on that side, but well, finally I was able to make a spark. You have to try it a little bit before it actually works well. I have 3 different flints, so I'm good if something happens. It comes with a poncho. That's something that you can easily buy at any store and add in your own survival kit. There's an emergency blanket. It looks kind of like aluminum. You know, it's very well. It probably is. It's really light. It says that it's supposed to reflect 90% of the body heat. So if you put that around you, it might not warm you up per se, but you will not lose as much heat as if you did not have that. I have a few clips here if I want to clip stuff around my belt, and this little tiny screwdriver. There's also this. It's kind of a fork and spoon together. It has a little knife, little can opener on the side here, and the knife is actually pretty good. It has a knife, a whistle, and a knife, but it has a whistle. Let me see. Is there a better way to put it? All right. It has this little pen, so you could write a note on a birch tree somewhere. And it also has something to break the windows, glass breaker, or I don't know what it's called. Okay, this here, it has a little tiny basic hook and line that you could at least use to fish. It's not the perfect thing. Like I would suggest maybe changing that for something better, but it's still, if I got stuck with this, I can still catch fish with this. It comes with this rod also. They say that it says in the kit that it's supposed to help you if you wanted to blow some hair. Not sure which side you would use it, but if you wanted to blow some hair into a fire to help it light up. Yeah, the bracelet to me is one of the best thing in the kit because everything else can be replaced by something better. Like I said, like that thing to start a fire, I have some of those. It takes more space, but I can still make my own kit with that stuff. The thing to break glass, if you get lost in the wood, you won't really need it. The poncho, you can buy another one. The blanket, you can buy another one. The flint, you can buy a good one. If you have a backpack, you don't need that thing to put the bottle of water on. Sorry, but the bracelet is pretty cool. Comes with this. This is what's it called? You would hold the two extremities, and you could cut trees. It's like a little manual saw of some sort. It comes with a flashlight. I just didn't put a battery in yet. I didn't put a battery, but I would. I always have extra batteries anyway because I have a GPS. It comes with one of those little tiny cards. This is kind of a multi-purpose tool. It has a bottle opener, can opener, kind of a little screwdriver, not screwdrivers, but I forgot the name. But anyway, you can use like 20 something little pieces on that thing, I guess. So there's a can opener. There's a knife edge. The side here is actually a knife. It's enough to cut something. Screwdrivers. I don't see the screwdriver per se. Well, maybe. Well, there's a ruler on that side here. Cap opener. 4-position wrench. Here. 2-position wrench on this side here. Butterfly wrench. Saw blade. It's probably counting that part here, but you won't be able to cut anything with that, trust me. Direction, ancillary indication. Now, that I didn't really know what it meant. It might have to do with that circle there. It might have to do with like the sun or whatever. I don't know. Lanyard hole, keyring hole. So you can actually put that on a keychain of some sort. I find it pretty cool. Like, it's not the best thing, but it's still, it's better than nothing. If you only have that in your pocket, it can probably save yourself, Water Scott in a 55-gallon drum. The morning dew fills that plus it rains one to it. Cool. Okay, so it rains a lot. Have to break the outer seal on a ferro rod. Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's why I say you have to use it a little bit. We teach our kids to make whistle with from acorns. Yeah, um, that's something that'd be cool to do. But if you have one with your spoon, you don't need to make one. But it'd be cool to know. Like I'd like to see that. Pull the grub of the hook. Use strong of material, small and tight on the wiggle. 100% better jiggling. Wire saw blade. They make friction. Flashlight. Shake them and they light up. Yeah, I don't think that's one of them. No, there's a little hole here for a battery. Now, I don't get why you would need to. Um, I don't know. What's the point of having this little 1 centimeter extension on it? So I have a tiny piece of, well, not robe. It's a lace, I guess. So let me put that back in here. I have more things that I put aside for now. I'm just going to put that in there before I forget it. And like I said, I will probably not necessarily change it. Well, I should change the compass in the kit altogether just to make sure. Although it's better than nothing, I suppose. To zoom. Oh, okay. Now I see it. Yeah, okay. I didn't see that at first, and now I see it. Thank you, Tracy. I didn't even know you were still there. It has one of those multi-purpose tool here. It has a little tiny saw. It has a tiny. Let me open it. It has some of those things. I never know what this is for. It looks like a screwdriver, can opener, something for my nails if I ever get tired of being in the woods and I want to do my nails. Okay, we'll shut this part here before I hurt myself. On the other side, I have a screwdriver, a tiny knife, and another can opener. The knife is still pretty decent, though. And this is, pretty useful for a lot of things. Okay, you were talking about, okay. Yeah, uh-huh. Is it really the same kit? It's kind of weird because once it gets there, it just squeezes inside. Put that back in there. You've been lurking, yeah. Maybe. The reason that I paid like an extra like $3 for another piece in the kit, and it's this here. So this is kind of neat. It only takes that little space. It's not that big. It's the size of my hand. So it has a little sharp place here if I wanted to cut something. It has another opener here. a nice handle. It has a little um, if I wanted to dig in the soil, I can use a shovel as well. This can be underestimated, I think, because if you get lost, um, you might think that you won't need to dig, but if you need to fish, maybe you'll need to find some worms. If you um, if you find a place to sleep, maybe digging a few holes where you can put your shoulders, your hips. Uh, let's face it, your body is not straight, and it's one thing to sleep on your back, but sometimes it's good to sleep on the sides. Um, you might need to dig um, for a bunch of different reasons. Uh, we asked Aaron to show how to use all the features of a survival kit. I'm familiar with refresher courses. Are epic. Yes. It, it's weird to say, but everybody should practice. Now I know how weird it might sound. Like, why would I practice being lost in the woods? It's not about being lost in the woods. It's about practicing how to make a shelter, how to fish with that tiny little line you have. Uh, Listen to this. Oh, the beautiful sound. It's about, if you can't spend one night outside because you're too afraid, if you get lost, you might be in trouble. You might need to practice how to make hair snares, how to cook, how to start a fire. It's one thing to have a flint like I have there. My son was all excited to get one for Christmas, um, but his tiny little hands are not even strong enough to make a spark to light a fire. And when I showed him how to light a fire, like how to make the spark, we couldn't even start the fire. And I'm like, it's very bad when I'm trying to teach about survival. I have paper, I I have gas, I have dry wood and newspaper and cardboard, and I can't even start a fire in a fire pit. How much do you think I'm in trouble if I get lost in the woods and I need to make a fire? So I'm gonna need to practice. Practice makes better. Mine is similar but has different stuff. Yeah, I try to when you send the link. I don't remember if you send the link on your channel or in the chat, but I tried to find out the same kit as you, and I couldn't find it. It showed me that it was not available. I totally agree. Maybe it did. I just didn't see it. But I feel like I touched it and I didn't feel anything like that. But um, yeah, it should have sharp edge. Imagine if that was an axe. That would be awesome. Yep, true, true. One of us at some point will benefit from teaching. Yep. And even if you don't believe that it can happen, it's not a bad thing to teach the young ones. You never know. Like, anyone has ever seen the movie Far From Home that came out in 1996? It's about the young kid that, his dad teaches everything about survival. He practices and all that kind of stuff. And he goes on a fishing trip or on a business trip with his dad in a boat. And he ends up in a safety boat on a shore somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and he has to survive. And it's a young kid with his dog, and they have to find a way to make it back home. Um, if you didn't know what was going on, you would have died the first night. but he knew what he was doing and he made it. Trying. Now, after you do everything we talked about today, then it's time to start thinking about food. Like we said, pretty much any animal with fur is edible. Of course, it's probably not fun to eat a skunk, but porcupines are edible, beavers are edible, moose, deer. Those big games can really make you go a long way, but you might have to eat squirrels, you might have to eat rabbits, you might have to eat grouse. Um, they might not be fun to eat, not all of them anyway. Um, it's something you might have to do. uh, Knowing about edible berries is another good one to have, a good skill to have, because there's I've seen about 30 different kind of berries in the wild while I was deer hunting or moose hunting. Half of them are deadly poisonous. Half of them. Now, I will say this from what I read, and I would ask you to do your own research before you do any wild uh, foraging. But from what I read, anything that looks like a raspberry would be edible. Raspberries, blackberries, um, all different colors of raspberries and dewberries and things like that. Everything that looks like a raspberry is edible. Um, Pretty much everything that would look like a strawberry would be edible as well. Now, there are things that look like the blueberry. Oh, I'm trying to think. All berries with a star shape on the bottom are 100% edible. Looks at the bottom of blueberry. Oh, you mean like the little round starish part under the blueberry? Okay. Good night, Cindy. Thank you for coming in. So let me just see for fun. The flower shape. Do you mean... Can I even open it big enough? Well, it's not bigger here. Do you mean that part here? Like this star here? Is that what you're talking about? So I don't even know what this is. Let's see if I wrote toxic blueberry lookalikes. Poisonous berries. So, well, this is just a drawing, so it's kind of different. So this would be toxic. It doesn't have like the flower per se, like the star per se. pokeberry is what we have here. So is there any way to differentiate them? Grapes and pokeberry. Okay, the berries on the left are grapes. Of course, they're all good to eat. The berries on the right are pokeberries. Eating them can make you sick. A lot of call about children who ate purple berries usually depict pokeberries growing in their yard. The telltale clue is purple stains in and around the mouth. Okay, if I wrote pokeberries. Pokeberry. Yeah, it's just a round shape. Okay, so that I would try to avoid those for sure. Raspberry look alike. So all those would be edible in theory. Now, the star shape is kind of hard to see. It would be at the base. Okay, that's good to know. I didn't know. Like you can see, kind of shape around the berry. But I was always told that poisonous berries look like blackberries. According to they're saying that there's no look-alike to blackberries or raspberries that would actually be toxic. Raspberry look-alike. There's a lot of different kind that look like raspberries. And you have the little star shaped around strawberry. Strawberry has that little star shape here as well. That's what you're talking about, right? That green part here. Edible berry. These are. Not sure. So that gives you a pretty cool idea of all the kind of edible berries we have. Lingonberry. I feel like I've seen those before. Sea buckthorn, that's something that I want to grow. Blueberry. I don't see Saskatoon berries. Blackthorn. Blueberry. It could be one of those things that I just know them by a different name. Gooseberries are pretty good. Cherries are pretty good. Blackcurrant, they taste very, very bad. Red currant, though, the red currant and the white ones are awesome. Cool. If you want to go in the woods, you might also want to check what kind of wild plants are in your area. You should never go in the woods without knowing what can kill you and what can help you survive. Set that here. I've spent multiple hours reading online, reading in books I can trust. Talking to people, looking at different websites, looking at videos. All kind of things to help me identify anything that I could eat if I ever got lost in the woods. Not only that, but I love free food. And there is a lot of food out there for us. I will never understand how people can starve. In the winter, okay. If you're not ready, like here sometimes I hear the kids say, there's nothing to eat, the drawer is empty, the fridge, there's nothing, blah, blah, blah. I have a full pantry. I have enough meat, fruits, and vegetables to last the family for at least a year. So yeah, they don't have snacks, but we're not starving. People struggling with food need to know how to preserve the food they get. Even if it's just going to the store and getting something on sale, buy a big quantity and find a way to preserve. If you see cans, canned goods, it can last for 3 to 4 years. Stews and things like that, soup, it might not be the best thing when you buy something from the store. There's a lot of preservatives and things like that, but it's still better than nothing. When it comes on sale, buy it. But what I was going to say about all that is, in your backyard, there's probably a ton of food, tons of things you can eat. And even if you don't have a garden, even if you don't know a lot about that kind of stuff, dandelion is edible. The roots, the stem, the leaves, the flower, every part of the plant is edible. There's a lot of plants like that's edible. Just go out there, do some research, learn. You can go to the grocery store and buy dandelion tea, chicory tea, mint, a few more. I'm not going to name them all, but there's a lot of things that you can actually buy, or not buy, harvest in your backyard that you can eat. Yes. I was told there was a lot of wild black currants, and I never found any until this year. I'm going to go to bed soon. During the weekend where I went moose hunting, before we actually started hunting, I made a video where I went and harvested some mint and things like that. I found a few chanterelles, mushrooms, and things like that. But I found a few bushes, and when I asked my teacher what it was, she said that it was like is it not swamp currant, but some sort of black currant. And apparently if it goes in the sun, it should produce berries. So I took a few one here, planted them behind my property, and I'll see if if it survived, if it grows. You never know. Yeah, I heard cotton balls soaked in Vaseline. I guess it's supposed to be a very, very good fire starter. We're talking about eating non-survivors during a plane crash. Always, if you fly, always bring a small bottle of hickory smoked barbecue sauce. Yeah, probably. And I mean, it makes me laugh when you see, like, I know if it's only for entertainment. Um, but you watch TV shows like The Walking Dead. They've been living for up to 10 years without garden and farmed animals and all that kind of stuff. At some point, they do get farmed animals and garden and stuff like that, but for the longest time, they survived from trashing houses and not eating for a few days. I don't understand, Aaron, what Remy is talking about right now. I might be seeing 15, 20 minutes ago. Um, you can always click live on your YouTube. It should bring you up to now. Yes, talking about Walking Dead. Just to show that, I know it doesn't make sense, but if there was really zombies, there's no way that those people could still fight the way they do with without eating proper diet. They would die before. Well, yeah, that was like 10 minutes ago, Darren. Um, one of the things that made me laugh the most was in the TV show Lost. Um, hello, Eldan. Thank you for stopping by. A member as well. In the TV show Lost, at some point, they are moving a casket with a dead person inside all the way across the island. They have like a bamboo on their shoulder and they're walking like nothing. Um, I don't know about you, but it's a lot harder than it seems to drag something that heavy in the woods. Um, we not wet. Be wet or be not wet. So yeah, when my dad and I started dragging that deer from the cutting we were in this fall, I mean, okay, I might not be the strongest guy. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people out there stronger than me, and I can say the same thing about my dad. But the deer couldn't be more than 150 pounds. We had it hanging on a pole, dragging it on our shoulder, and we could only do about max 20 feet at a time before we had to take a break because it was killing us. It was hard on the shoulders. It was hard on the legs, hard on the back. Imagine those guys in the movie dragging that body across the island in a coffin. There's no way that can happen. Nope. I don't want to. Yes. Now that we are talking about underwear, I had this crazy idea that could take off as a meme. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes, Darren, I knew that. Where have you been for the past 3 years? Seriously, you didn't know that? Oh, and then yeah, the guy that was laughing at me for drinking Bud Light, you didn't know that. At least I'm improving. You're not. Just teasing you. You know I owe you a few ones. I will not be doing that challenge. What he said. I'm not gonna try that challenge. Uh, all right, people. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I had a blast. I will be getting up early tomorrow morning, as usual, just because I can't sleep. Since I had kids, I'm up 7 a.m. If I'm lucky, 7:30. But usually around 7 is when I get up. So I will let you guys go. Dave, I was at an 85 birthday party. uh, it probably wasn't too rock and roll. Yeah, thank you guys. The chat was good. Uh, Wickershire Project Off Grid, you kept me going for pretty much the whole live stream, which is pretty cool. I had Michael Sharp for a little while. Tracy a few times was there as well. Cindy Squirrel. Some people come in, say hi, and then they go on with their lives, which is pretty cool. I had Karen chatting for a while as well, looking at the future. Well, Darren was looking at the past a few minutes ago. So, all right. I will leave you with some music just because I love music. And I'll see you again in a week. Take care, everyone. I would have help. I would have help if my YouTube brought me at present time. Well, it's not stupid active. It's a good thing. Wickershire Project Off Grid. It's awesome. I love when I have someone that interacts with me, and it keeps me going. It keeps me going. It's just that lately I was only able to do live streams between an hour and 15 minutes, maybe. The last 5 live streams were over 2 hours, which is pretty cool. So I'm very happy about that. I will be live again in a week from now. So thank you, everyone that was here. Take care, and I'll see you in a week.